Hello, everybody. This is the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia, Merle Rutledge. And of course, I had a great time going out to Richmond, what I call my promises made and promises kept. And I had a great time with Kurt Santini. He's running for Virginia Lieutenant Governor for 2021. And we were supposed to have this nice little rally and speak out at, of course, the state capitol grounds in Richmond, Virginia. But, of course, Northam the Rat decided to make sure that couldn't happen. And there's no logical or legitimate reason for it other than the fact that it looks like our lawmakers are scared of the people. That's what it looks like to me. And I'm ashamed of all that type of stuff that's going on up there in Richmond at the state capitol, where you are supposed to be able to go to your government and their officials for redress of your grievances. But obviously, they didn't like that. So I get a message from Kurt Santini. He's saying we're going over to the Lee Statute off of Monument Ave at the site of basically where there's nothing but graffiti on Robert E. Lee statue, and pretty much people taking pictures, having a great time, celebrating. And of course, there's a lot of hostility because you got the Black Lives Matter crowd. You got those who are there to protect the statue. And then you got those who are just there to fan the flames. And that's what it boils down to. So then we come to find out the day before, some protesters got ran over by a vehicle. We don't know what is all behind that. The only thing we do know from certain people that are familiar with the matter, that somebody ran over somebody, and now that person is held without bail. Now, this is the thing about it. It takes a lot of balls. I said this to Kurt Santini directly, for you to switch over from the state capitol and then right now be where the sharks is at. In other words, where the protesters is at. Basically where people are against exactly what you're trying to do. But when you have the fortitude, when you have the bravery, when you have the courage to walk across the aisle and be present and speak to people who may not agree with your philosophy or your reasoning, that's what you call a tough Republican. That's what you call not a politician. That's what you call somebody standing up on the same grounds, on the same territory, in the same backyard or front yard with the protesters, letting them know exactly where you stand on Republican values, on our creed, on your positions and views, and also saying exactly how you feel about what's going on at that statue. Now, I get there and I arrive. Kurt Santini is I don't know what's up with him, to be honest with you, but it made me proud. He was talking to people from all different walks of life, of different backgrounds, regardless of who they are, and taking them on question for question, view for view. Whether somebody was pro-abortion, he was still pro-life. Whether somebody was against guns, he was still for protecting the right to defend yourself from all enemies, foreign or domestic. When it came down to walking to different groups that may not have the same philosophy as you, he was open to the conversation. He didn't duck. He didn't dodge. He stood his ground the same way my philosophy is in law. I want people to stand their ground whenever somebody decides to go ahead and go against them. It's the right thing to do for America and for this country. I can tell you off the break, Kurt Santini is probably one of the realest people out there that's Republican, that loves all people, but will not compromise his position at all for anybody else. But he will stick his ground and show you the respect and courtesy that you deserve. Discussion. Now, as we get to the Lee statute, as we walk the crowd, we talk to voter registration on one side. Then we talk to the LGBT community on their side. And then we talk to the bikers that decide to ride up, locked and loaded, and have a great views on the statute. And of course, they are trying to keep law and order because, of course, the Richmond police have been told to stand down. But one thing we got in common from every single person that we talk to, they do not like career politicians. I can say that part. They say each one keeps coming there trying to put on a show, trying to put on a gimmick, trying to do whatever. And they wasn't talking about Republicans at that time frame because Republicans wasn't really there. They was talking about the Democrats like Justin Fairfax, Mayor Stoney, the Richmond mayor, and which is funny because they had a story for his punk ass, and I'm going to call that story out. Now, they said that this SOB, the one leading the monument removal or whatever in Richmond, along with Northam and the Three Amigo clans, now, they said that he walked for a half a mile in the protest, then gets into a police car, which drives him the rest of that mile, and then flies off like he did his nice little show. Now, obviously, people took offense to that, which I find was funny, because they're like, now we got these politicians, these career politicians, the ones who need term limits, riding around trying to use this as the next campaign pitch or campaign, you know what I'm saying, commercial. That's what came out of it. So when they saw Merle, Rutledge, and Kurt Santini both saying we ain't politicians, because we're not. We're real people talking to real people, finding out your positions, your views, and then, of course, confronting those that are in conflict with ours, but making sure, you know, we are in the best interest of Virginia and this country. And we will work across the aisle without compromise and make sure we get the job done in the best interest of the Commonwealth of Virginia, compared to the best interest of lining pockets by those politicians. Now, as we get towards about 4 o'clock at this time period, we had some business we had to handle. So the bikers, which was locked and loaded, said, we got microphones if y'all want to go up there and speak. Now, I was expecting Kurt Santini to say, maybe this ain't a good idea, because we are right now where the sharks is at, and they smelling blood, and they thirsty for hate. Others are just thirsty for seeing drama, and others are there just seeing what is happening to their great city of Richmond. Now, Kurt Santini didn't hesitate. We walked right up to the steps, right there at the Lee Statute, where no other politician go, because they so busy being at the state capitol grounds, being protected by the state capitol police. So they are not worried about anything happening to them, because they got armed guards who they try to make sure protects them, while the rest of their citizens go without any kind of protection. But they claim that we need gun control, but they are the ones who are picking and choosing who has the guns and who has the control. Think about that statement. Now, as we get up there, Kurt Santini unloads. He lets them know the importance of history. He lets them know he's running as a Republican, where I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of liberals all in the crowd as well. And he held his ground and did not compromise that history should be protected. After that, I get on the stage and I unload, because I said, I'm not coming up here to fake with y'all and make you think what y'all doing is acceptable. We are here to protect history, just like we are here to protect all backgrounds history, because what you may find as a moment of pleasure is a lifetime of pain for your ancestors and your history that you think the government is not going to touch. So we hit the home run right there at that time period, letting them know, number one, we are not politicians, we are patriots. Number one, we're not Democrats or liberals, we are Republicans, and we ain't changing how we view things or how we speak about things or how we protect things, because we love our country too much for your political feelings to be hurt. That's just the way it is. And we did it directly in the lion's den of those who are painting graffiti, screwing up history, and trying to think that since you touch one statue, that you don't think others is going to try to go after yours. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, what we also found out about, a lot of them are pissed off with Stoney. A lot of them are pissed off with Northam because they said you made promises that you're not keeping. I said, that's not shocking. They're Democrats. That's exactly what they do. They play on you. They tell you what they are going to do. Y'all vote for them, and all you see now is everything that they said that they wasn't about or what they didn't campaign about. So they was getting a breath of fresh air from Republican leaders to know exactly we come to them. We don't talk over them. We talk directly to them, and we tell them exactly where we stand. That's what people respect. They respect people that make the hard calls and decisions, but they also respect the fact when you come to them face to face, man to man, woman to woman, whatever, man to woman, whatever kind of category is on, because it was even transsexuals out there. Yes, it was. But at the same time frame, whatever you identify with, we will let you know where we stand, and we wasn't compromising. That's what I call leadership. And we did it face to face, without police, without any protection, without fanfare welcome, because we had to change locations. And we did it face to face in the heart of Richmond, in the heart of opposition, on the statue, and I'm proud to be an American. I had to get that out the way because it sounded good, and it's exactly how I felt about Kurt Santini. Number one, he has more balls than any politician I've seen out there. I can tell you that. He doesn't care what race you are. He's stuck to his core values, and that's exactly what I respect. So I know Lynchburg, Bedford, the whole state of Virginia, you better pay attention to this guy, because he's exactly not the typical Republican, and it was clear as day. He was no longer handling business like the rest of them stupid politicians that's out there, that's hiding behind gates and armed guards and their nice little fortified chambers, scared to face the people. That says what it says. Now, I'm going to speak about racism. I can tell you like this, people. I don't tolerate racism by far from anybody. I'm like, respect must be earned, not given. People talk about racism, from Black Lives Matter to Antifa to white supremacists, and those who don't care about the issue, they just care about your character and not the color of your skin. Where I stand on the issue, people have a First Amendment right to say they hate me, just like I got a First Amendment right to say I still love you. That's just the way it is. We can't control people. We can't make them agree when they don't agree. We can't do none of that. The only thing we can do is determine what we as a person, or I as a person, does in life. People are not going to be robots in Virginia. I'm not running for Black Virginia. I'm not running for white Virginia. I'm not running for Hispanic Virginia. I'm running for governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia. That means I'm representing the best interests of Virginia as a whole, not my own. And I see that in Kurt Santini also. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to silence you from you being hateful. I'm not going to silence you for you showing love. I'm not going to silence you for you practicing your faith, because God and country and family comes first. But I'm not going to silence the other side, because sometimes you have to recognize where opposition is at and exactly how they think, but also be respectful and mindful that we can agree to disagree, which is what happened. what is right for our freedoms. People don't talk like that too much. Now, what I want to bring up also, because people talk the talk but don't walk the walk, no matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. In 2016, you will see a video on my Facebook page. This video is going to be shared over other networks. It's being passed around, and it shows a white male being handcuffed and dying in police custody. Similar, but not as similar as George Floyd, but the circumstances is based off the fact he died in police custody. Where is the protest for this, just like the protest for anybody else? When we decide that we jump on an issue because it's race related, we do more harm than good compared to people fighting for what is right, not based off of your race, but based off the totality of the circumstances that happen to us as Americans. When we get to this point, we won't see each other as the enemy, but we will see each other as friends, neighbors, and family, and more. What divides us is the fact that we keep saying that because it happened to us, it doesn't matter if it happened to somebody else. That's division. No matter who's out there protesting, rioting, and looting, you're protesting with division, not protesting and bringing us together. The fact and circumstances is that America has an issue with police, just like America has an issue with government. The thing is, we can't get past those issues and fix those problems until we come together. And the government, liberal governments, liberal groups, and liberal organizations don't want that to happen. That's why when you saw Biden accused of sexual assault, you saw all these different groups that was against sexual assault turn on the victim and support Joe Biden. Why is that? People don't want to talk about that one. But the thing is, whether the woman was white, did it play a factor? Maybe if the woman who was accused was black, it had changed people's minds. No, what people saw was the very hypocrisy of these groups that use us, the people, for political benefit and gain, and they don't care anything about the people. They just care about their self-motivation and their self-interest because of political affiliation. It is about people against these politicians and political parties, establishments that control people and make them switch off on their own morals and values. It's the same way with people saying that they worship God, they believe in the Bible, but they are not going by faith. They are going by the government's interpretation of what they find in the Bible that they find okay with, and what they don't find okay with, they tell you to go against your faith. Isn't that a corrupt government that you ever seen? But they claim the U.S. Constitution and our guarantees and rights and privileges. But they all claim that they uphold this as an oath when they come into office. But you don't see them practicing what they preach when they get there. But you see exactly how much they care about that when you look at right now and how your life is going right now in the lockdown. And you seeing what government has become, because all you can do right now is pay attention to every freedom that you had that government is taking right now. This ain't about race at this point, because when somebody does something wrong to you, you're looking at the person who did something wrong to you. Race has a little bit to do with it. But the fact of the matter is, this is what government is doing wrong for the people, and people are stuck and fixated on what government tells them should be elected, because government has weeded out exactly what they need to keep people in the dark and not bring them to the light. Government is not transparent. That's why you see secret classified stuff, because guess what? They say the public can't handle it. Government that's hiding the truth. About The stronger that we come together, the stronger that we elect people that really represent us and don't allow the liberal media to pick our winners. Because what the liberal media is going to put out this candidate and that candidate and that candidate. People jump onto that candidate and don't realize that you're jumping on the bandwagon that's destroying America. That's why I support President Trump so much, because he isn't a bandwagon dude. You agree or disagree, and then at the same time frame, he's letting you know there's a lot of rhinos, a lot of flunkies, a lot of liberal groups, and a lot of madness that is stopping America's rights and privileges. And the fight isn't against him, it's against us as Americans. We see today, like we seen any other time frame, more than ever, that American people controls America. That's what it boils down to. And the government is trying to take that back and let Americans know that the government controls Americans. That's not how government is supposed to work. We send representatives to represent us, but they are representing corruption and their own pocket line. And people are wondering why certain candidates is getting all this attention or whatever. That's because government is promoting them compared to promoting those who really care about your values. If people that really care about what's going on at your dinner table, what's going on with the economy, what's going on right now. Right now, people are asking for questions and guidance from a government that's still hiding from it. But at the same time period, people still try to elect these same politicians that didn't care for you in the crisis, didn't care for you in the pandemic, didn't show leadership in the pandemic, but you're going to vote for them again for them to go ahead and make things worse and not make things better. You put in new people into government to go ahead and hold them accountable for the past that they made you suffer for. That's why I'm running for Virginia governor. Do I believe Virginia would have been shut down under my leadership? No. We would have been just like South Dakota, going on about our business and representing exactly that America doesn't break down for another country's interests, for pennies on the dollar of American businesses and American hard work. Yes, we believe in public safety, but the same diseases that's out there, the same diseases that every American has to deal with moving forward. The fact of the matter is we have seen so much destruction right now. How do we see Americans viewing how we're going to get out of it, especially when they are unsure if they have a job to go to once you open up? So are you going to leave them behind to take care of illegals? Not Merle Rutledge. Merle Rutledge is going to take care of Virginia first. I know Kurt Santini, he's out there taking care of Virginia first and facing the people just like any other real Republican, real person and patriot that doesn't focus on being a politician, but hearing the people, not hearing themselves. So this is Merle Rutledge speaking about racism and the state of the union, the state of the Commonwealth. Basically, people are in fear and they're acting out of fear because leadership has declined in leadership. That's what has happened. And once we get things back on track and get the right leadership in and kick these politicians out, we will see Virginia become Virginia and greater again. And we will see America fight back and overcome this obstacle like we had never seen before and make opportunity and prosperity the number one objective that everybody knows, and knows that your faith and your freedom will be protected from all enemies, foreign or domestic. My name is Merle Rutledge, and that's why I'm running for Virginia governor for 2021 as a patriot, not a politician, for the people.